I hit another exciting savings milestone today. I'll tell you all about it and everything else I did with my money this week coming up next. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today, I'm going to go over what I did with my money for the week starting February 7th. For me, my weeks start on a Friday and end on a Thursday. And so first I'm going to go into my budget for the month, which is here, and I am going to enter in the bills that came in this month. Or not this month, this week. There were only two of them. One of them was YouTube Premium, and I round these up, so I'm going to say it was $16. It was actually $15.42, but I round up. And then Puget Sound Energy, which is my power bill, came in for $33. That came in a few days early, but it was also under what I had budgeted for the month. These ones here that are highlighted, I didn't have the exact numbers when I did my budget, and so the actual is a little bit lower. Mostly the bills I expect to be around what I planned for in my budget, with few exceptions. So those came in. I still don't have the bill for my doctor office visit, but I do have the EOB from my insurance carrier, so I know how much that's going to be. Hopefully I get that bill in February so I don't have to carry it over again into March, because this office visit was in mid-January and I still don't have the bill yet. So that's all I can do here for now. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to go over to my cash flow tracker, and I will track the inflows and outflows through my checking account, sort of like a check register. And this is just to make sure that there aren't any surprises that go on with my bank account. I have so much money coming in and going out, not so much in terms of the amount of money, but just the number of transactions, that I just want to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks. And I found after a few months of doing it this way that there's usually something that I don't remember or that I forget to allocate properly. So, for example, I will go make a deposit of money that I've set aside and forget to transfer it out into my high yield savings account. And so doing this has helped me catch those a couple of times now. So I didn't have any inflows this week. I get paid twice a month, on the 15th and on the last day of the month. And so for the second week in a row, there's been no income, which is fine. I actually get paid tomorrow because the 15th is on a Saturday. My paycheck will come in on the 14th, which is Friday. But because I'm recording this on Thursday evening, the 13th, it hasn't happened yet. And it's not part of the week that I'm accounting for anyway. So we'll just go over the things that came out, and there were only a few. There was an ATM withdrawal of $40, and this was because of my weekly cash. I give myself $100 in cash each week, and if I don't spend it all, I only top up to $100. So the week prior, I'd spent only $60 or only $40, so I just needed to take out $40 more in cash. So I did that, and then I transferred money to my emergency fund, and this was from game night on Monday. And this week, I sent over $253. My goal is to send $250, but sometimes I go a few dollars over, and that's totally fine. So $253. And then I also had another transfer to savings, and this was to the Blip Fund because I borrowed from the Blip Fund. So I transfer money, $205 out of every paycheck goes into the Blip Fund. And I'll explain what that is in a moment. But I borrowed some to send to the emergency fund, which is in a different account, because I was close to a milestone. So I had to replace that in the Blip Fund, so that was $50. And the reason why I don't transfer it directly out of my savings account to the emergency fund is because it actually goes through an intermediary. It's a whole thing. I keep my emergency fund pretty distant because I don't want the temptation of just spending it directly or just doing a quick transfer to checking and spending that. So I deliberately keep my emergency fund just a little bit out of reach. But the blip fund is much more within easy reach, and that kind of transits the money that goes into the emergency fund. So, long story short, too late. I needed to replace $50 that I took out of the blip account to send to the emergency fund, so I did that. I will come back to savings in a moment, but first I'm going to go and add up all of the expenses that I had for the week. So I'm just going to break it here briefly, and we'll do the expenses next. I realized after I had done everything last week that I did not go through and color code the transactions from the week prior. So I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to take out another highlighter for this week. So we'll just grab a couple of mild liners. And I will start with last week's. So I don't do this for any reason other than just separating what goes on in each week so that if I ever have a question with my budget tracker, my monthly budget tracker, I can come back to the expense sheet and see, okay, which transactions went into which week. So we'll set that aside. And I am actually going to put a board in here so it's easier to write. I had quite a few transactions this last week, mostly because I worked late on several days, or at least a couple days, and so that necessitated having dinner delivered to work. So, not something that I like to do often, especially because it costs, but a necessity if I'm in the office late and I'm not going to get home um, for a while, because I do have a long commute from the office. And I don't go to the office every day. I usually go 3 days a week. But oftentimes, what happens when I'm there is that I try to get done everything that I would need equipment in the office for. So, like if I need to use the printer or the scanner or what have you, then I will do that while I'm there. And then sometimes I'll work on that project that I've done, and it ends up meaning that I stay much later than I normally would. So I didn't spend a whole lot on groceries this week, which is good because I spent a whole lot of money on um, eating out or having food delivered. And I don't really want to do that, but I wasn't planning on staying late in the office. It just kind of happened, so I didn't really have a chance to plan ahead. I also had to go to Target, or actually, this was a delivery, and this is for household supplies. Now, I am moving at the end of February or in early March, and so I just needed some more cleaning supplies. It has been really cold, and the weather has been really, really crummy here. So I didn't want to go out in that to go pick up all these supplies because Target is 2 cities east of me. And so I just had to make sure that I had enough for a delivery. So that was $38. And technically, that is a moving expense, and I do have a stockpile set up for that, but I just put it in with the weekly expenses. It's fine. It is going to probably put me over for the week, but I'm hoping not by too much, and we'll see what happens with when I add everything up. But here again, this was another one, DoorDash food from the 10th, and that was due to eating at the office. $15.47. Food delivery is so expensive. Um I get Dash Pass, which is their like frequent customer program free through one of my credit cards, and it's almost like it makes things too convenient. So 1646. And then today was McDonald's. I decided to treat myself to breakfast today. Had a rough morning commute that ended up not happening, so I worked from home today when I normally would go to the office, and had to go and grab breakfast because I didn't have any more breakfast food in the house. So I think that's all of the transactions. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. And then the only other thing that I have left to record is the cash. And of course, I don't know off the top of my head how much cash I have left. So I'm going to go grab the pouch and I will be right back. I've been telling myself every week that I should show my cash dump at the end of the week, and then I forget to do it. So this week, I'm making a concerted effort to do it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take out my coin bag here. And this is just loose change that I'm accumulating. I don't spend my change, I just save it. And this will go toward Christmas presents. So the Coinstar machines that you find in supermarkets, at least in most supermarkets and in my area, will count your coins for you at some ridiculous, rate that they take if you get a cash voucher. But you can also opt to get a gift certificate or a gift card. And when you do that, whatever merchant you pick will pay the fees for the coin counting, so you get the full value of your coins. And they have Amazon, they have DoorDash, they have, I think, IHOP, Starbucks, Apple Card. They've got a whole bunch of them. But I usually just go for Amazon and then use that for either necessities, or in this case, I'm trying to save my change all year for Christmas presents. So dumping my coins in here for the week. And I don't keep track of how much is in here. It will be a surprise. Whatever is in here is money that I don't have to factor into my November and December budget to use for Christmas presents, which was a big bugbear in 2024. So you can put this away, and I will set this to the side. And then this pouch is where I'm saving my $1 bills for the end of the month, where I save them in the Letterbucks challenge, and that's also going toward Christmas, most likely for travel or things like that. And it looks like this is empty because I haven't added them in here. Yep, so I didn't do this last week, sure enough. So I'm a week behind, and that explains why there's so many $1 bills in here. So I have got quite a fair assortment. Oof. I have $25, it looks like, that I didn't spend, and probably about 21s in here, maybe a couple more, maybe 22. So these are going to go in here, and at the end of the month, I will sort them and do the Letterbucks challenge. I have a video from when I did that in January. I'm going to do that every month at the end of the month, so stay tuned for that. So this now gets put away. This money goes back into my weekly pouch, and I will need to take $75 out of the bank for next week. And I will try to remember to do that tomorrow, which is Friday. Okay, so set this aside. Out of sight, out of mind. We'll bring this back, and now I can fill in the weekly cash. I don't put a category to it because this cash could have gone for anything. Most of the time it's for food, coffee, things like that, but who knows? I don't really tell myself that it's for any specific purpose. So because I have 25 left, that means I spent 75. So now it's time to total up all of these, and I don't have my regular calculator, but I do have a backup. Okay. So let's see here. So we've got 604 and 604 and 5420 and 2287 plus 3805 and 25 and 1547 and 1646 and 1044 and 75. $269.57. So I'm just over the $250 that I give myself each week. But before I leave this page, I'm just going to go through and color code all of the different transactions. I have kind of a soft goal of not using more than one full page per month. And with 2 weeks left to go, I may not make it, but I'm going to try. So we'll go back to the budget. And this week, $269.57. So again, over by about $20 from where I want to be, but hopefully I can make up for it with next week. I really need to save $80 somehow, and ideally closer to $100 for my haircut. That covers the haircut itself, the transportation costs to get there because my barber is far away, but she's fantastic, and then the incidentals along the way. So usually I grab lunch. There's a candy shop there that I like to go to, so it's kind of an adventure. I only get my hair cut once every 8 weeks, and I'm due, and she's on vacation this week, or I'd be getting it cut this week. But at any rate, um, I need to find that $80 somewhere in here, ideally, because I didn't budget for it. I could take it out of the remainder. I mean, that's kind of what it's for, to catch the unexpected. And I should have remembered that I had that coming up when I did my February budget. But it's not there, so hopefully I'll save enough in here to just be able to absorb it. Okay, so down here in the stockpile section, this is where I'm setting aside $250 each week to go toward the emergency fund. This is for game night on Monday. This last Monday, on the 10th, we saved $253, so I covered that earlier, that I transferred that over. But now I'm going to go over to the savings page, and we're going to actually record it in the savings tracker. So I looked at my balance this morning, and as of this morning, I'm at $11,013.76. And this is because I made 2 transfers into the emergency fund. So on the 12th, which was yesterday, I sent in the $250 plus I had an Etsy payment come through. So the total was $329. And that brought my total from $10,634.76. Let's do this. $10,634.76 plus 329 is $10,963.76. And then I saw that I was really close to the next milestone, and I just wanted to push myself over that hurdle. So I borrowed money, as I said earlier, from the Blip Fund, and I'll talk about the Blip Fund in a moment. So that was $50. So we'll add 50, and that brings us to the $11,013.76. So I need to fill in the tracker, but before I do that, I want to just take a minute to go over the Blip Fund real quick, just because I've mentioned it a couple times, but I haven't shown it on this video. So this is the Blip Fund, and Blip stands for Break Lock If Prompted. This is a savings account that I set up to kind of catch any of the unbudgeted but needed spends. So things that I just forgot to budget, or unexpected expenses that come up that aren't really an emergency, but that need to be covered within the month. Because this happened to me last year. There was a freak storm, and then there was a last minute travel for the holidays. So not life-altering events, not an emergency in the sense of I lost my job or somebody got sick or something like that, but just something that I needed a little bit of extra cash into that month's budget to cover an unexpected expense. So I've got this set up. I've got the $205. I'm not going to record the minus 50 and the plus 50 because that's a wash. $205 as sort of the seed money or the first deposit. I'm trying to save up about $2,000 in this account, so I figure this will take me until about the middle of July, but we'll see. So for now, this is getting $205 twice a month, and once it's fully funded, then I will move on to other savings goals. But for now, that's what I'm working on alongside funding the emergency fund. Back to the emergency fund, and I'll bring over the tracker for that. My goal here is to get this fully funded by the end of April, but realistically, I have a stretch goal to get it done by the end of March. And so now with there being $11,013 in the account, I'm past this next threshold, so I can color in another section of the tracker. So I will get out the pen to do that. It's going to be another highlighter here. And this is a different brand. This is a Unipropus. And I like these because they tend to line well and they don't bleed. So they do ghost a little bit depending on the paper that you use, but they don't bleed all that much. Then I need a ruler. And because we're in this top section here, it's only going to take me a quick second to fill in this tracker. So actually, I'm going to pop this out real quick, and we'll put a board behind it just to make it easier to lay the ruler flat. So do like this. And again, my goal is that by the end of March, in about 6 weeks, give or take, I can show you a fully funded emergency fund. I have never had that before in my life. So this is something that is new to me, and I'm excited for it. I will stop saving in the emergency fund for a while I work on other goals, and then I may come back to it and save more. I've really liked watching the balance on this account grow, but at the same time, I do have other goals. I need to save for retirement. I need to fund the blip fund, and I also want to make a life-changing move in the next year to a year and a half. So I need to save for that as well. So this is done. So I'm going to put this back into the binder in the savings section. And like I say, I'm so excited at how fast this has filled in. I've really been focusing on it. I started recording videos back in, October, November, and this is where I was. I mean, I was literally almost $5,000 less than I am now. So even through the holidays, by prioritizing savings, I've really been able to push this up, and I'm really looking forward to getting it to be fully funded. So if you're interested in getting this tracker for yourself, it's available on my Etsy shop. Speaking of my Etsy shop, all of my physical products, this is a digital download, but all my physical products are 30% off through February 23rd. And that is a moving sale that I'm having because I am moving here locally, and that's just fewer things that I have to put in a box and cart to my new place. So that sale's ongoing now. A link to my Etsy shop is down in my description. I have savings challenges, I have placeholders, I have savings challenge books, so please check it out if you haven't already. Otherwise, I want to say thank you for watching the video through to the end. That really does mean a lot to me. And if you enjoyed it, please leave it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and share with your friends. The next video that I upload will probably be the March budget. So I'm going to be making some accommodations for the move in that budget and filling in all of the bills and all of the projected expenses, things like that. So that should be going up at some point this weekend. Next Monday is game night. Join me as I save to help me fill in this tracker and work toward fully funding my emergency fund. So thank you again for watching, and until I see you in the next one, take care.